Welcome back to the Geometric View, episode 52, season 5. Today we're going to be getting into measuring the branch, Goldenscaling, lightning. Literally, I'm going to take my golden mean caliper and measure cavities, the cavitational growth of meandering Lichtenberg figures and flow dynamics. It's all going to be golden mean and Goldenscaling. Phase conjugation.
I'm Buddy James, your host. Let's get into it.
Let's get into the circuit.
The best way to support us is on PayPal, goldenscaling@gmail.com. Thank you.
On my computer screen here.
There you go. You're bigger now. Now you're smaller.
Okay. This way?
Yeah, bigger now.
All right.
More detail.
All right, sweet. All right, well, welcome everybody to the Geometric View. This is a little bit different of a format, but this is episode 52, season 5, and we're going to be getting into measuring the branch, Goldenscaling, phase conjugation, the golden mean, and electricity. I'm literally going to be taking this tool here. This is Rita, our mannequin, short for Margarita. But I'm going to be taking this tool right here that I made more than a decade ago, and I'm going to be taking it and measuring rivers, streams, fractal branding, electrocution, lightning, mountain tops, mountain ranges, rivers between rivers, meandering. I'm literally going to take this tool here and I'm going to be measuring the golden mean and electricity, Lichtenberg figures, flow dynamics, fractal branding, like I said, trees. Okay, so yeah, I basically said all the things here in my notes that I just grabbed. So without further ado, I'm going to share my screen, go to my videos. This is a crackle, like a paint crackle, a crackle fractal, I guess you could say, a crinkly crackle fractal, and it also exhibits the same kind of growth, asymmetry that I'm talking about here. It's not symmetry that we're dealing with. It's more like we're dealing with the golden ratio, the divine proportion. This is one of my episodes on the golden ratio. And I'll get through here real quick. Whoops, going the wrong way. That's a good spot in a park here that I like. So also we're going to see how the circuit itself is electricity and the geometry of phi scaling, Goldenscaling, this geometry of the Dougherty set, the Dougherty networks, and Theodoughertian roots is all phase conjugate, which means multiples of the golden mean. The golden mean times the golden mean times the golden mean, or the golden mean plus the golden mean plus the golden mean minus the golden mean, multiples of it, a cascading effect, if you will. Now, these are t-shirts that I currently have for sale and that we have for sale here at the Geometric View. And a larger audience that we have that I'm not sure if many of our listeners are aware of, on Facebook, we have 35,000 members on geometric or electric universe geometry, and that's a group. If you like, check us out, join it. This right here is my geometry that I've been working with for a long time now, and you can see that this is rims, this is spokes and rims, wheels within wheels, big high rims and things like that, similar to Ezekiel's vision, but this is directly out of the Dougherty set. and these are, like I said, t-shirts. We're going to show the scaling here on each one of these. And this is the hexagonal pattern. And I've printed these onto the shirts. So they're hand printed. Each one of the shirts, they're $20 each, or two for $30, plus $5 shipping and handling in the United States, unless you're local and I can just hand it to you. So this right here is like a circuit board, circuitry. Now this is quaternion scaling that we're seeing, or quaternion patterns, and also they are the dyadics or two-adics, dyadics in mathematics, and they also break down in something that is called the Cayley-Dickson configuration, or Cayley-Dickson, that you can check out on our last episode of the podcast. Now, I'm going to keep going through all of these different types of patterns here and show that each one of these is golden scaled, and they're also scale invariant. They're logarithmic scale invariant. They break down in a log of halves, halving, half, 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 and then quartering, and it gets into the same binary breakup of and buildup of the human cell as an embryo develops. This one's the Aurora star. And notice how each one of the patterns here, there's a larger one and a smaller one connected to each other. It is connective geometry, communicative geometry, that's the word I'm looking for, and it communicates. There's also a non-communicative aspect of the geometry as well. So on to the next pattern here. We have the wheels within wheels, the toroids within toroids. And these are, like I said, just natural geometries, quantum geometry. This whole set of geometry has been named quantum geometry for quite some time, or space-time geometry. We just did an episode on that, episode 51, if you want to check that out. So here we go. Now we're getting into fractal branding and the electrical currents, or actually putting charge through wood. And I do this myself here. It's high voltage electricity. And you can see that particularly nature seems to tend towards making these filaments bend at the meandering points and at the bifurcation points right at phi. And this is a phi golden sensor or golden mean caliper, like I was talking about. And I'll go on to the next video. Boom. Almost every time it breaks. And you can keep the same shape. Fractally, not only it breaks down from one interval of 1.6180339 to the next, but every time you set it down on the filament in one way or another, bam, there it is again. It's going to line up. There's a line up here. You can see it almost every time. So is this the same one? Okay. Going this way. All right, so this also, like I said, we're going to keep going on with these because there's quite a few videos where I want to show that what I'm talking about isn't just a once in a lifetime chance or occurrence where every time I happen to set this down, it fits. It literally lodges in. Not only does the wood grain work with it, but the fractal pattern itself, the Lichtenberg pattern itself, is the most efficient way for most efficient energy distribution is phi. Here's measuring it again. And we're basically chasing down the dragon here. We're showing how these large-scale scarifications can occur here, not only on Earth, but also in rivers. So here we'll go to the next one here. It's absolutely fascinating how often and how perfect it really is. Like, we like to think of the universe often as a positive and a negative, a plus and a minus. Excuse me. But really, it's not a yin and a yang universe. It's not an equal balance universe. There is some quotes that I would like to say here about the golden mean. And to start off, because I want to break this concept of duality, and there is a breaking point of duality, and I believe it's the golden mean, both sociologically speaking, physiologically speaking, mentally, neurologically speaking. Our neurons move using these same dendrites, and everything uses the same type of phi scaling as well. It's phase conjugation is what it is. Plasma uses it. Plasma works according to these geometries. Plasma tunnels. It's the only way that cavitation can occur. There's phi in almost everything, and it all comes from the nectar of the circles, and how the circles and the spherical pressure nature of the universe, like Russell talks about, octaves of pressure working up and down, that itself is also scaling too. So we'll get into that. I'll show more of my geometry here, and we'll also get into that. Look at how much it looks like a dragon and a river. So let me say a couple of quotes here. Virtue is the golden mean between two vices, the one of excess and the other of deficiency. Virtue is the golden mean between two vices, the one of excess and the other of deficiency. Geometry, that's from Aristotle. Kepler goes on to say, geometry has two great treasures. One is of the theorem of Pythagoras, the other, the division of a line into its extreme and its mean ratio, the golden ratio. The first we may compare to a measure of gold, the second we may name a precious jewel. Moderation, the golden mean of Aristotelian Metron, is the secret of wisdom and of happiness, but it does not mean embracing an unadventurous mediocrity. Rather, it is an elaborate balancing act, a feat of intellectual skill demanding constant vigilance. Its aim is the reconciliation of opposites. I'll go on to a couple more quotes here. Keep the golden mean between saying too much and too little. That's from Sirius. This is from Horace. He that holds fast the golden mean and lives contentedly between the little and the great feels not the wants that pinch the poor, nor plagues that hurt the rich man's door. Embittering all his state. Whoever cultivates the golden mean avoids both the poverty of a hovel and the envy of a palace. That's from Horace again. This one's from Ralph Waldo Emerson. We call the beautiful the highest because it appears to us the golden mean, escaping the drownedness of the God, escaping the drownedness of the good and the heartlessness of the true. This one's from Rosemary McCullough. Why is humanity so excessive in the way it does things? The golden mean seems out of fashion. Yeah. So the golden mean is sort of like a happy medium. It's like, in a way, it's like the Goldilocks. It's the Goldilocks. It's the happy medium. So I had this idea to take this golden caliper or golden sensor and measure all things circuitous, and that's thus this episode that we're doing. And here we go again. This right here is the perfectly scaled to the golden mean in between the filaments, and how it nests and lays down from point to point, from top to middle to bottom, the side, the way that these are Histler and Whistler waves, Whistler mode waves, and these are electromagnetic frequencies, these waves that exist inside of the upper atmosphere and the ionosphere. And I take them, and these are all naturally occurring shapes inside of the Dougherty set, which is why it's so important to take this in a interdisciplinary approach to this, because not only does it involve psychology, but it also involves geometry, geology, everything. This is the way that space-time unfolds. You know, what Einstein called relativity and special relativity. Now I take this magic tool, and you can actually get one. I'm not selling them anymore, but you can get one from my friend Tufan Giffen. If you're over in Europe, at what is his store? Geometricmodels.com or geometricmodels.org. But he's got these golden mean calipers for sale too, and you can measure all sorts of amazing things with it. I mean, your fingers, your sockets, your balls to sockets of your hands, your phalanges. They're all measured in the golden ratio, and you can see here from tip to tip of these rouleau triangles inside of this fashion, which is one of my newest t-shirts that I'm offering. You can see that it's all the golden ratio from where it points to where it moves from one place to another here. Now I'm going to come in and measure the filament itself. Sometimes it takes a minute to line up, so excuse the time that it takes there. This one must be the better one. So you can see from outside to the inside, from center point to pinch point to center point. The centrifugal and centripetal forces are perfectly aligned with this kink instability braiding that's happening here. Here we have more of aurora star, but in a three-dimensional space-time manifold, or Minkowski type of space-time manifold, measuring the conics and showing that the conics are in between the pinch points, which are the Higgs bosons there. Breaking down the Dougherty set into smaller, or in taking away a lot of the detail and showing some of the skeleton of it here, we can see that even that itself, of course, has first principle Goldenscaling, phase conjugation from point to point, pinch point to pinch point inside of the toroidal forest as the Theodoughertian vortical Theodoughertian space-time coordinates unfold here. This here is golden triangles, showing that moving from one front of the primary wave to one front of the primary wave to one front of the primary wave, opening it up, takes three different points, and from each one of the points here on the front of the cusp of the wave, it is also phi. All right, now getting into that forest here, that toroidal forest, we're getting into the lens of life, and you see how the lens here, the opening lenses here are also inside of this fabric here that's woven, the Titterbeewang or Zitterbeewagong exhibits also golden scaling. So I think I take it here and pinch it and move forward. But yeah, this is the reason why there's wavicles, the wave and the particle, and because it's helical, it's helicoidal, and it's minimal energy surfaces, and it's minimum energy configurations, and helicoids and helical waves move in that manner, in the helical manner, because of these types of pressures that are exerted. The natural breakdown of geometry that's coming out of the sun and out of the proton resonance and out of the atom here is all the same mirroring geometry. It's all echoing the same precision here. So now I take the Birkeland current, the Birkeland filament inside of it, showing the Bessel function, and the breakdown of even a Birkeland current itself is phase conjugate and golden scale. And I've been measuring everything with this since the beginning. So for like 18 years, coming up this August, it'll be me playing with the golden mean, the golden ratio, while everybody has been talking about it, going crazy. And actually, my visions, what helped spur my visions and spawn my visions in 2003 was a book by Mario Livio called The Golden Ratio. So the whole thing is golden. The streets are golden. Everything is gold. So I'm looking up Revelation 22 to read about the streets of gold here. And then the angel showed me the river of the water of life, as clear as crystal, flowing from the throne of God and of the Lamb. Down the middle of the great street stood, of the great street of the city, on each side of the river stood the tree of life, bearing 12 crops of fruit, yielding its fruit every month, and the leaves of the tree are for the healing of the nations. No longer will there be any curse. Okay. For the healing of the nations, no longer will there be any curse, for the throne of God and the Lamb will be the city, and his servants will serve him. This is the hollow universe and how everything is hollow. The whole city is part of the circuit and how it all breaks apart and comes off of the center here. Yeah, now the river of life. There's more. Oh, right here. Then Revelation 22. Then the angel showed me the river of the water of life. Is oh, that's it. Um, but yeah, anyway. So religion aside, I mean, this is an interdisciplinary approach. So we include all different religions and breaking them down from the vantage point of an electric universe, not only here on the show, but in some groups that we have on Facebook, Electric Universe, Gods and Goddesses. So this is kind of an interesting uh, way to look at the Dougherty set. Um, and also golden ratio parameters, breaking it down toroid by toroid, which makes up the whole field. The fields are what's creating the forms here. Okay, now we're getting into the circuit here. Now we're getting into the Theodoughertian roots and breaking down these individual networks, these systems, systems of spheres and field-aligned currents, some of them force-free field-aligned currents, but showing that through these, this is the triangle, this is using the regular polygons, regular polyhedra, and rotating them inside of themselves, creating inverse triangular filaments, inverse square filaments, inverse pentagonal filaments, and these are all based off of other videos that you can watch. You can get more in depth about that, but I'm showing the golden scale of them, and this is how you build up rays of light. This is how you build up beams of light. This is why you see lens flares the way that they look, the geometry of planets, why they're aligned there. This is the logarithmic scale invariant geometry of the ley lines of the planet and why things are the size they are. It's called interscalar geometry, interscalar physics. Also, breaking it down more here into the I broke down so much more on the other video, but I actually went through it. So on a 1-to-1, each one of these breaks down. I have to open it and fudge with it a little bit because the spheres get a little bit smaller or a little bit larger with compactification. The Bessel function changes, so there's a compression and a rarefication, larger and a smaller, as these circles, these concentric circle patterns, which are the Bessel functions here, scale inward and outward, creating the funnels and the tunnels of information in the Birkeland flow and the Birkeland current. This is episode 5 here, a print from it. You can see the cover on episode 5, the geometry of lightning. And of course, that's going to scale down and break down the same here. And there's a lot of similarities to the hexagonal breakdown and the octagonal breakdown. But the way that lightning seems to break down is in the hexagonal based filament, as it takes its payload and it uh, twists it off layer by layer by layer by layer as it goes downward, so it doesn't break the circuit and release all of its payload off at one time. Uh, it works inside of these cylindrical, conical filaments. And that's the geometry here of the Dougherty set that we're looking at, the geometry of uh, Theodoughertian roots, the Dougherty networks. Um, and it's the fractal spacetime, uh, quantum fractal spacetime, the frothy spin foam geometry of Theodoughertian. This is Eric Lerner's model and Halton Arp's model of a quasar. And this I was taught this and given this information from Gareth, uh, who runs See the Pattern on YouTube. See the Pattern on YouTube. You want to check it out. Now, I asked him if there was something that was similar to an idea that I had here, and then he showed me that there was already a map of people that were drawing it, and yeah, you can see another one of our episodes on the geometry of black holes. It's in our season 1, I believe. We covered a lot in season 1, but it's good because it gets us the ability to get deeper into each one of these subjects. So even the way that black holes uh, scale down and the filamentary networks from the top and the bottom of the pinching and the kink instability, the top and the bottom of the quasar, or quote unquote black hole Z pinch, is has this geometry as these filaments spin in the networks, creating it. So this right here is some of my favorite. I just absolutely love this geometry. The way that these Minkowskian type of David star, uh, Merkabah type geometries go uh, space fill, open and close inward and outward through this, creating two separate types of networks. An open circuit and a closing circuit that seems to cascade throughout the network. In turn, when it does that in a phase conjugate manner, you get this beautiful geometry here that reminds me of Christmas because it's probably colored in green and red. But other than that, yeah. Okay, so you have something called the Mueller fractal here, and I've discovered the Mueller fractal on my own because I saw it inside the geometry of how this vector space of this Clifford algebra happens to cascade outward. This is differential topology and differential mathematics, uh, and there's so many other types of mathematics that are going on here, but this is the way that we're going to understand, the way that a lot of people are breaking this down and understanding this is through using um, differential mathematics, spinors and topological transformations and things. So even these individual waves or nodes as a musical cascade, or um, what Russell would call octaves here, you can see the way that nature and matter actually condense along the filament as a condensate uses the same type of hierarchical logarithmic type of scaling like this. That's the same kind of thing. Now we have an interrelated interlooped um, uh, type of network, and each one of these points in space and time inside of the plasma of the galaxy is connected inside of these networks, and these networks uh, are all can if they get disturbed, they can reconnect. They're self-healing filaments, self-connecting filaments, filaments that when they're disturbed, they already know their resonance to go back to it. And this is how and why, because every single place in the gravitational fields of matter, how they dispersed and how they're dispersed across the arms of the spiral Milky Way, galaxies, or also galaxies, other types of galaxies as well, use this type of branching, not necessarily this thin or this this Archimedean spiral, but it will be one of the Archimedean spirals, one of the logarithmic spirals, and they're all involved inside of these. So this covers all of the pitches of the angles of spirals as they open and close, like a insect type of molding process as it turns into a different creature inside of a cocoon. Here's another measuring the Birkeland filament, Birkeland current, field-aligned force-free filament, all the way down, golden. The streets are paved in gold. Everything is gold. What is that? Is that the last Revelation 23 or what? Because I remember everything is gold inside of inside of heaven, inside of the Bible and Revelation. And this reminds me of that. The streets are paved of gold. This is literally the since we're looking at it from the south, this is the south gate. This is the every gate, 3 gates to the north, 3 gates to the east, 3 gates to the south, 3 gates to the west. This is encompassing, and why we can finally see the structure once we draw all 3 gates. If you draw 1 gate, it's hard to see the structure. If you draw 2 gates, it's cool, but you have to have 3 gates in order to see the geometry of it. And understand what Revelations is actually talking about when it describes these temples, this spiritual temple of an AI type of future computer electronics that it's going to allow everybody to be on equal terms, where there won't be any more crying. So there's going to be all sorts of stuff. It's not only going to be no more crying, but that's according to the Christian theology, which I've adopted quite a bit, and this is also how I came to find Jesus, through the geometry. It's my uh, being reborn experience, illumination experience. Your it was what changed me and transformed me. I was drawn immediately to the Bible. So I like to look at religions as all proving one aspect or another of the electric universe, gods and goddesses. It's really trying to get to the highest us, the highest you, the highest universe, and disregard yourself and tap into the circuit. Set yourself aside so the power of the circuit can work through you. And that's the power of the universe. These Kundalini type caduceus geometries that are just unfurling with all spaces and all parameters, and holding us in our cocoons, and allowing us also to breathe this plasma and be in this plasma. So of course I decided to do a pine cone next. And you can see it has 1 to 2 scale ratio there, 1 petal to 2 petals. Then you go tip to tip here, and you get I think it's 1 to 1.5. And I measured it a few times, and then I turn it over and do the same kind of thing here, just showing that there's a scaling rate in any manner inside of the this particular type of pine cone. There's 2 to 1. There's 2 to 3. Center to the outside. So yeah, measuring the branch, measuring the circuit, really measuring, taking the golden scale, taking the golden mean and scaling things with it. Here's geometry of the egg. I got this off of Facebook. I don't know who has credit. If you want, DM or put it in the comments here if anybody knows. Have some more of these filaments that I did. Almost every time it seems to branch like that. So we can see it. We can go on and see this over and over and over and over and over again. Like the trunk of the tree and the canopy of the tree. Kayaking. Then I started doing it on trees. And showing that trees do the same scale. Trunk, canopy, to base. Boom. And that's the good thing. One of the good things is, it's my good friend Russ out there, Russell. You can take this tool here, this golden caliper, and measure everything with it. I had this idea to take a picture. I was like, woo! And here's me. And that's when my phone was falling into the water, literally, and it fell into the water. I put it on a 3-second timer, and there's there's my golden caliper right there in my fanny pack. So yeah, that's it. That's the images that I took. So it looks like it's almost around an hour. I'm going to Rick, how you feeling, brother? Can you hear me? Are we still recording? Did I bore you? Yeah, we're still recording. Good. All right. Yo, yo. Sorry, that was pretty close there. Oh, oh. Let's see. Facebook. Geometric View News. Here we go. I heard that it's better this way. So we'll scroll through this way. What is this here? on the correlation between solar activity and large earthquakes worldwide. This is space weather news. But yeah, nature.com, they're going and showing that actually Ben Davidson was correct here, and as a lot of people have been showing and with their models. Here's an image that I drew showing the fish here inside of the Dougherty set, inside the Dougherty network, and how the orifices are vortices. See how the fish's eyes, where the eyes are, the blue vortex, and the purple vortex coming in the mouth on the fish to the like center right, just to the right of the center, and the orange vortex comes out of its gills. So the water coming in, and this is how fish just stands there. And all this geometry is showing and exhibiting the magnetohydrodynamic geometry of the sun to be biodynamic geometry here on Earth, and biophotonic geometry, biometric geometry. This biometric scaling of the golden mean is all inside the fish here too. And you can see that I'm just tracing the circles, and just by tracing the circles gives you the shapes of the fish here, with a little bit of exercise and a little bit of leeway, but it gives you the outside of the fish, the size of the fish, the even the scale of the fish, big fish chasing little fish, eating little fish, and the size of it also as it moves closer towards the center, i.e. closer to being born, just born, or smaller fish, they'll get eaten by the bigger fish. So this is so much more about vortex and the vortexture here that I could talk about with this piece. All right. As an artist, I work on the future. My art is for the people of today and for what we create for our tomorrow. Another image of the Dougherty set here that we've been going through. Someone had a good idea and they asked if anybody's created this in string art. So I implore any string artist to create this, or if they need the blueprint to create it, I can help provide that, or also I'm interested in doing it myself if someone locally wants to get involved, or we can do it online. Shout out to me. Okay, what do we have here? Most alphabets are believed to come into existence before the universe. Perhaps they did this as vowels collapsing along the indices of angles of regular polyhedral, spinning into fractal filamental frequencies that we all are. And that's another image here, electric universe geometry image. Russell optical generator. The entire universe of motion is expressed by positive and negative electric opposites, which thrust away from each other in just the reverse manner from that which the comb sets forth. This is a gorgeous one right here. This is dangerous. This is like seeing into the universe. Exciting. Alright, I'm gonna go back here. There we go. Okay, this is a cool oil experiment. Hopefully it's not too big on the screen there. But there's drops of oil here on top of the cymatics, which I thought was a novel idea. Haven't seen it done yet. And of course, it goes to the nodal pinch points with the vortexes moving underneath it here. And he goes on to this is Sean Pekarsik, friend of mine, an experiment I did demonstrating the static conditions of a standing wave using drops of mineral oil, showing how they are contained by the lattice of transverse waves. If we could inspect these drops, we would observe a spiraling vortex action, and around them streams that flow in straight lines in the configuration of its n-fold symmetry orthographic projection. It's awesome. Oh, another great one from Nighthawk in Light. I love Nighthawk in Light. Check him out, his YouTube channel, and also Luke Soundwalker. But yeah, this is a cool image here uh, from one of Nighthawk and Light's newest YouTube. This is sound creating patterns inside of fire. So it's like fire cymatics. So that's always fun. I thought this was good. It has its ups and downs, but it's for the most part pretty good here. Russell said the absence of all motion. Russell said light is the absence of all motion. It's neither a particle or a wave. Waves and particles are means by which we can see the still magnetic light, which is already there. Real light is our very essence, and we never directly observe it, but we can intuitively connect to it. The visible spectrums we see and measure are frequencies of light. Many ancient spiritual teachers have said, the light is within you, be still, and be the light for others to follow. Opposed spin equilibrium, nature's fundamental electromagnetic energy dynamics. Yeah, can't argue with you there. Opposing spiral dynamics, opposing spiral vortices. It's all at the center of the thrust of everything in the Dougherty sets. So we've gone through that in other episodes with the blue whirl and the geometry going on there. This looks really cool. Plasma jets stabilize water to splash less. A good friend of mine, Robert Hawthorne, posted that on Electric Universe Theory. Plasma jets stabilize water to splash less. It's gorgeous. Cavity formation at the water's surface subjected to neutral helium gas just left and a weakly ionized helium gas just right. Credit the Korea Advanced Institute of Science and Technology. A study at CAST research developed that researchers revealed that an ionized gas jet blowing into water, also known as a plasma jet, produces a more stable interaction with the water's surface compared to a neutral gas jet. This finding, reported in the April 1st issue of Nature, will help improve the scientific understanding of plasma liquid interactions and their practical applications in a wide range of industrial fields in which fluid control technology is used, including biomedical engineering, chemical production, and agriculture and food engineering. Okay. So yeah, there's more to the article, of course. Let's watch it. Okay. Interesting. All right, so that's that. And yeah, I believe that is the
the end of the news hour, because we covered this on the last news hour, the last episode, episode 51. If you didn't check it out, check it out. Spend the time there. We have t-shirts. Um, t-shirts available if you want to, like I showed on the beginning of the episode here. It would take me forever to scroll through here for us to find them. But we do have t-shirts available. And if you want them, if you want a shirt or a couple, or one of each pattern, there's like 11 or 12 patterns, then contact us at goldenscaling@gmail.com. That's what this episode is called, goldenscaling@gmail.com. The golden scale that we've been going through. Or you can hit me up, DM me on Facebook, friend me, hit me up, let me know. I'm Buddy James on Facebook. And I don't really do too much on the Geometric Book Facebook. But yeah, if you want some fractal branded furniture, hit us up. Anything you want. I do quite a bit of different things. If you want some bubble sculptures, some designs, some crystals, there's all sorts of cool things. Like, I'm just fishing, but I mean, there's literally so much fun things. Commission us, commission me. We got going on. We also do stained glass, so custom stained glass. Hit us up. You know where to find us. And thank you for being here. I'm gonna go back to Skype here. Hopefully. Oh, yep. Shared my screen. Stop sharing. I'm gonna go back here. Go back to my face. And there we go. So I can say goodbye to everybody. There it is. All right. Well, thank you for being here, everybody. We'll see you on the next episode. And for now, Rita and I are going to hang out. She's got her hand out. Not asking for money, but she does have those good mudras already going. All right, guys. Have a good night. See you next week.
I will never fall, I will never be a better person. You can never see me, I can never be inside of that tree, I can never be inside that forest. You wanna see me, but I'm not seeing you. You wanna get where I am, then you cannot you. You can't you. I don't wanna. For the most of the time, I got to divide the clouds when I got off in the middle of the world. Think of a different stuff. I'm a bad thirst, I'm a different nerve. Think of a different curse. Perfect all around. Something of an off. Perfect because it's just perfect. Nobody get it off. Legally off. Piece of the pie. If you want a piece of that, you can have a piece of the pie. I'll give you that. I'll give you that much. If you want a piece of this, I'll give you a piece of me. Legally, I'm off of your soul. Yes, if you can pick up one piece of me. The perfect cowboy. The piece of this, I'll give you a piece. By the grain of stars. Sometimes it's like some moves you have on every dance floor too. Real smooth, it's like the moves you have on the dance floor. Real smooth. One in all, as one flesh. smooth out on the dance floor, dude. You're real smooth out on the dance floor, dude. Real smooth out on the dance floor, dude. You're real smooth out on the dance floor, dance floor.
The geometric view is a Love is Watching product. Love is Watching being. Thank you for doing that. Keep your eyeballs out. Pay attention. There's a lot going down this year. Be vigilant. Be mindful. Be insightful. Be loving. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being kind. Share the love. Spread the love. Become the love. Amen. Thank you for being here. Thank you for joining us in episode 52. Looking forward to seeing you guys here next week. There's so much information. We really genuinely appreciate your support. This show wouldn't be possible without your support. Just kidding. I still would do it even without your support. But looking forward to episode 53. I'll see you there next week. Like I said, love is watching. See you there.